The year 2020 is one that none of us will soon forget. We've seen heartbreak, suffered loss, grieved for our loved ones, and questioned our very existence. This pandemic has seen over 1.7 million people lose their lives. Nearly 100,000 establishments temporarily shut down due to this pandemic are now out of business permanently. The rate of depression in the US and around the world has tripled due to COVID-19. The fact is, people are hurting. Despite all the negative around us, over 800,000 people took a leap of faith and started a business. 140 million babies were born. Over 60 million couples said "I do." Whatever the year 2020 meant for you, the fact is that it's over and you are still here. What a blessing. The one thing that is separating what you have from what you want is your focus. What you focus on is what you will experience in life. I invite you to embark on a journey with me. I invite you to take hold of your future. Face your fears. Embrace the opportunity in every obstacle. Develop a kingdom mindset. Usurp the playing field and turn every stumbling stone into a stepping stone. It's time to shift into focus. Are you ready? The time is now. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whatever time of day it is that you've decided to tune in, we welcome you to the final installment of SHYFT into Focus. Can you imagine? We are already 5 weeks in. We have conquered so much ground, and we're excited to have with us today the incandescent, the incomparable, you will never find another like him, Mr. Valdez K. Russell. It is important that you use the K. It is necessary. You can't leave it out. We are talking today about stumbling stone versus stepping stone. We are in the final installment of our SHYFT into Focus series, and it is exciting to have Valdez with us as we take this journey together and close out our chapter as we shift into focus. Valdez, it is a pleasure to welcome you, to have you join us this afternoon, today, whatever time of day, like I said earlier. Tell us, Valdez, I want to get right into it. What does it mean to focus for you? What does focus mean to you?
So focus requires discipline, commitment, and the kind of perseverance that moves you from good to great and great to excellent. And when we think of being focused, when we think of being committed and passionate, it requires more work than we're sometimes willing to invest. But when we do the work, when we take action, when we connect with people who bring out the best in us, the world is a better place, and it is enriched by our passions, commitments, and purpose. That's what focus looks like and feels like to me.
Mm-hmm. We are 30 seconds in, and already the session can end. We have heard so much in that small period of time, connectedness, understanding that you are connected to what it is that you're focused on, and what you're focused on becomes what you see in front of you. When we think about what it means to be connected to something, whether it's bigger than you or it is a part of you, what does that actually mean? What does connectedness mean to you?
Our connectedness has to appear in the real kinds of ways. You feel connection, you thrive on connection, and you know when the moment is there for you to take that first step. Many years ago, I received a necklace, and it reminded me that Christ was counting on me. And when I initially received it, I paused and I wondered, what does this mean? The enormity of that statement years ago, decades ago, still rings true, but now there's greater clarity with the connection. And it means that I will stumble. It means that we will all stumble. But what we are reminded is, if heaven is here on earth and God is with us all the time, it means someone is counting on you to do better, to be better, and to move from one step to the next with the kind of poise and thoughtfulness that changes your community, that changes your surroundings, and that impacts the world. So connection, conversation, relationships all bring us closer to where we need to be and help us to appreciate what this purpose means and acknowledgement means of Christ counting on us.
Mm-hmm. Christ is counting on you today. It's January 31st. You have made it to the end of the first month in a year that you probably thought you would never see. You are here, and you are here on purpose, for a purpose. Christ, among other people, is counting on you. As I listened to you, Valdez, I realized very quickly that I'm going to have to refer to my notes to get my questions right. You drew me in already, so I'm going to take a minute just to refresh my memory here. And it says here, throughout this series, we have taken pride in becoming vulnerable and sharing our stories with our audience, because we realize that by sharing what we've gone through, it can help somebody else to come through what they are going through at this time. When you think of the term stepping versus stumbling, a stepping stone versus a stumbling stone, is there a particular moment in your life that stuck with you over the years?
Right. I was reflecting just recently on a poignant step that my cousin Celeste took about 5 years ago. I remember when we returned my sister Samantha back to the Bahamas, she came in as cargo because she had died in Atlanta. And as a family, we brought her body home to mourn, to celebrate, and to remember her contributions to the world at the age of 31 or 32 when she passed away. And so she arrived as cargo, and so we had to greet the coffin. My mother traveled, and my cousin Celeste and I, we greeted the coffin in such a way that we wanted to have what always happened when she came home. Someone would meet her. This was just the final time that she came home. And there were some hiccups as her body was brought out, and there were some moments that required attention. But the moment that I will always remember that has transformed and reshaped how I see myself with my family was when my cousin Celeste stepped forward and she draped herself over the casket. And it was a reminder that I will always be with you, Samantha, that you will always be with us. She could have stumbled, but she stepped with confidence, even in that most difficult moment. The year 2020 allowed people to step, to stumble, to fall, and get back up. Some of us did it in the front of a coffin. Some of us did it in the front of families when we lost our jobs. Some of us did it in moments when we just couldn't go on. But for those of us who did it and are still able to tell the story, it's a reminder that your step was into the better direction for a new tomorrow. Your step is a reminder that you have the energy, the capacity, the commitment to move forward, to do better, and to be better. So that moment stands out to me. It was a moment that I never appreciated until we paused to reflect on the beauty of death and the brilliance of life all merged together when she draped herself on the coffin. There were funnier moments connected with that, but at the core, she took a step, a poignant step, to remind us and those who watched that in life and in death, you are cared for. But to achieve that care, you have to have someone step, mind the gap, stand in the gap, and be there for you.
I think that's very important, because the year 2020 was for many people whatever they chose for it to be. Yes. In a moment like that, when you're bringing someone that you love and you've cared for all your life home for the final time, you've accustomed yourself to embracing that person as they arrive. Now the embrace is not going to be reciprocated, at least in physical touch. It could have been spiritual for your cousin. But she chose in that moment to realize this could be the end of our relationship, or this could be the beginning of a transcendent relationship. This could go beyond time, as most relationships do. And that brings me to a word that we've used several times in this series, and it's perspective, right? Perspective, in my opinion, it shapes everything that comes in front of you. Your outlook affects your outcome. And that's been taught to me over the years, but specifically in the year 2020, I decided to not use the year for what it could have been, but for what I needed it to be for me. And so I want to understand, when you think of perspective, how important is perspective to all that we've talked about so far and we'll continue to talk about today?
Right. As we wrap up this dynamic series and people look forward to what is to come, they're looking forward to a different kind of Valentine's, whether it's with your boo, your friend's boo, your husband's friend's boo, or a boo in waiting. Boo. Yeah, you'll always be my boo, right? But whomever you're looking forward to with Valentine's is going to look different. Mother's Day is going to look different. But what will remain constant is how you embrace the experience. I can't control your reaction, but I can control mine. Perspective allows us to pause, manage our emotions, and appreciate how we show up. Perspective says it's raining outside, and we have to have an awareness to take action. Perspective also says, dang, it's raining outside, I'm gonna be in all day. I often smile when I hear people say with the rain, it's a good day to be in bed. My perspective is it's a good day to pause. It's a good day to reflect. It's a good day to be better today than you were yesterday. So a perspective shift is a behavior. It's a commitment. And you have to step into whatever season you want to be in, understanding that if it is meant for you to be there, you will be there. And if it is not, you will watch what happens pass by.
Listen, this is phenomenal. Yesterday, because you said two things that stood out to me. The first is you have to decide to step. Yes. You can decide you want to lose 20 pounds in the year 2021. Until you make the first step to the first pound, nothing will happen. Take it from me. Nothing will happen. You have to change your mind, adapt your mind to doing the thing that's required of you to move forward. Yesterday I was driving, and I was doing something illegal. Okay. I had my cell phone in my hand and I was talking to my boo. Yes. Coincidentally. I was on my phone chatting away, and the police officer came up beside me and he said, "Stop." And I immediately knew why he had stopped me. In that moment, I was celebrating a victory from God in that moment. And in that very same half a second, the devil decided, stop that, get mad, become a mad for a moment. And I said, no, I will not. I allowed the officer to do his job. I allowed the treasury to become a little bit richer, because why not? We need it, you know. And I didn't allow the feeling of anger and frustration and why are you stopping me because I did something wrong. I made an active choice to break a law. I broke the law. I suffered the consequence. I decided to let my perspective on that be, he gets a quota this month. He gets to meet his quota of ticket writing. The treasury gets a little bit more enlarged, and I'm still able to be safe on the street. He reminded me, these are a distraction. Focus on the road. That brings me back to your point about choosing to the outlook, the perspective. It's absolutely important that what you decide to do is going to be determined by what you actually do, right? My next question for you, Valdez. Throughout, has there been a time in your life, and maybe we talked about that already with your sister coming home, but where you decided to look at the stone as a setback rather than a setup?
Yes, absolutely. And I still do it. I do it on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. You don't get the opportunity for a contract. You don't get the invitation to the invite. You don't get the invite to a members only kind of thing. You don't get the opportunity to participate in something, the job. It happens all the time. And of course, your first reaction is, woe is me. I'm not good enough. I'm not the right fit. And I'm learning more and more, and get this, I'm learning more and more that rejection is the new redirection. Indeed. And if we were to pause.
As we say pause together, I need you to right now, you have to write that somewhere in your journal, in the chat, on your status, and wherever you write it. Rejection is the new redirection.
I really believe that, because I look at the moments that I was dismissed, or the moments that I determined that I was inadequate based on an outcome. And then I remember what I have going on. and I look at the bounty that's associated with a small piece that moves to a larger piece. And so I'm guilty of it. Everyone wants the opportunity that they put their foot in the race for. Everyone wants that immediate. But sometimes we don't get it. Sometimes we're delayed, and we have to appreciate we have not been denied.
Indeed.
All right? Wow. And so rejection needs to be the new redirection, and appreciate that delayed doesn't mean that you have been denied. Everyone is going through this journey fighting a difficult battle, right? And we want to be successful based on the terms that society has outlined around what success looks like. But at the core, what is intended for you will be for you. No matter where you go, how you do it, or what comes about, if it is intended for Ahmad, Valdez, Trevor, or anyone else, it will be for us. And so understand that as you navigate this journey, as you breathe a fresh moment into February, tomorrow, or the day after, position yourself to be prepared for failure, because it's the motivator to start again, to do it over. And don't be complacent. Don't be lazy. Be ready to be great. Because when your moment, when your gift, when your chocolate, your Valentine's expression, or birthday moment comes, it is just what you will need in that moment for you.
Indeed. Rejection is the new redirection. Be ready so you don't have to get ready. These are nuggets that I want you to take with you as you move throughout the rest of your year, because it truly is the difference between what you could have and what you will have. It's all in your mind. It's all on you to decide what you're going to do right now in this moment to create your next moment. That's amazing. Valdez, let us be real for a moment. Life is hard. Everybody is not going to just be able to snap back and snap out of it and just wake up and be great. What do you say to people who have it difficult, have it more difficult than you and I might, to just wake up and kind of shake ourselves up out of this and see the stone as a stepping stone and not a stumbling stone? How do you do that? How does that happen?
Right. So this is that aha moment. This is that come to Jesus moment. I can't want it for you more than you want it for yourself. I can't. But a lot of people need someone to want it for them. A lot of people need to have that feeling. But this is what you need to do. We have had a rough time together. We have had a difficult set of days, months, and people are still reeling from that. I start my day by waking up in the morning and looking in the mirror and saying, you got this. And if more people were to commit to that kind of behavior and recognize that the voice in their head that's saying, you don't have this, you are not going to succeed, that needs to be silenced. And the voice that you hear needs to be your primary, strongest voice saying, you got this. You have to want it. You have to breathe it, you have to need it, and you have to feel within your every pore that no matter what is going on within me, around me, or beside me, I can still rise up, right? Andrea Day says, I'll rise up, rise like the day, I'll rise up. And we have to understand what we're ingesting, what we're taking in. If all of your friends are crease up at the club, you don't need to be there if you want to get ahead in life. Yes. If all of your friends are online watching the people who've made money on Netflix, and you know that it is your commitment and passion to be a cinematographer, you need to understand where you need to be, how you need to invest your time. Recognize all the things that our grandparents and older people have said. Birds of a feather still flock together. All right? And if you want to be different, you're going to appreciate and recognize very early on that as your vision becomes clearer for you to be better today than you were tomorrow, as the vision becomes clearer, the circle will be smaller. And be okay with that. Be okay with that. But motivate and remind yourself, I got this. And you say it every morning, even on the most difficult mornings, on the most difficult days, because you have to believe in yourself. You have to want it for yourself more than anyone or anything could want it for you.
Indeed. As the vision becomes clearer, the circle becomes smaller. My circle is minute. It is the same people that's been my circle from the 7th grade are in my circle right now. And I pride myself on that because they are each doing something to make themselves better than they were yesterday. My sister is a shining example to me about perspective. She is someone that is who she is at her core. She is who she is. Adia Abriel Thompson is who she is. But when her mind is set on a particular thing, she can't be shaken. She is the best person that I know that can save $1. She's better than my grandmother. My grandmother could save some money. She could, whatever she sets her mind to, she accomplishes because she chooses to. Despite what the world may say, despite what her circumstance may be, despite what even she may think sometimes, when her mind is made up, it is made up. And she has taught me in the year 2020, whether she knows it or not, that when you make up your mind, you have to resolve to what you've made up your mind to do. Because you can say, I always say to people, what you see in your mind and say with your mouth, you will see in front of you. See, say, and see. Because we have the vision, and it becomes clear, But we say to ourselves, they ain't gonna choose me. I'm not good enough. I can't go to no gym. They can laugh at me. I can't go to this. I can't do a series. Excuse me. You can. If you choose to, you will. If you choose not to, you won't. That's the bottom line.
Yeah. And you hearken a reminder that persons should write down or make a note of. Stop disqualifying yourself before you considered.
My Lord.
All right? Stop disqualifying yourself from the gym goals, from applying for the job, from buying the car that you can afford. Stop disqualifying yourself because you are not feeling like you're good enough or that you've made it. Give someone else the opportunity to allow the decision to be made, and you step into your season.
Absolutely.
All right? Some of us are stopping ourselves from being more and doing more because the inner voice is saying you can't. But awaken the spirit of truth, the spirit of kindness, the spirit of success, and recognize that you can and you will. And it has to start with you. Take the step. Do what is necessary. Persist, persevere, and stop selling yourself short. The Bahamas is thriving on the brilliance of Bahamians who think they can cook. The Bahamas is thriving on that innovative approach around Bahamians who are picking up, delivering, dropping off. We're moving more and more to us wanting to own ourselves and being a part of this thriving community of stakeholders invested in success. We need more people to be on that journey. We need more people to take risk. And we also need more people to stop fake liking us. All right?
Talk about
we
that.
need
Don't like me for fake. Like me for real. Don't like me at all.
Right. We need people who are going to like our content on social media, comment on it positively, and speak positively behind our back. In a room full of opportunities, speak about your friend who you know who has talent, versus in a room full of gossipers speaking about your friend who's hosting the series, who's trying too hard, who's doing too much. All right? And so we need to be there for one another, like Karen and Becky and Adam them for there.
Yes, because Pookie them have a place.
Yes, yeah. And so we have to be there. We have to be present, and we want to see more people winning. And we want to celebrate more Bahamians showcasing their brilliance locally, regionally, and internationally. There are individuals ready to take the first step, and they're not doing it because they're afraid, because they're disqualifying themselves. Let it go. Let it go, in the words of Frozen. Step forward, rise to this occasion, and make this moment the start of a better year. Make this moment the start of you walking into your season from one boulder being thrown at you to the next, to dodging those boulders and still coming out saying, I'll rise up.
You know, Valdez, as you spoke just now, I thought about a client that I had earlier at the end of last year, and she came to me and she said to me, I want to become an HR professional. I work in the field of HR now, but my boss tells me every day why I will never be the HR director, or I will never be the person in charge of HR. And I asked her a very interesting question. I said to her, what do you believe? And her answer stopped me in my tracks. She said, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what I believe. And that to me was an eye-opener, because I've been taught, I've been raised by my parents, my grandparents, my family. You got this. You could do whatever you set your mind to. And maybe I was a little bit too confident as I grew up. Maybe I just walked in that belief too strongly, but I couldn't for a moment understand what she meant. How do you not know what you believe about yourself? But I realized that not every person has the light in them, or has had a light shone on them. Shone, who knows, on them. But when you think about the fact that she left the conversation because I reminded her, first of all, you are a child of God. You are a child of God. He created you, and before he created you, he knew exactly the magic that you could create and bring forth in this world. I need you right now on January 31st, or whatever time of day you're watching this right now, to own that. You are created for magic, for greatness, on purpose, for a purpose. No one, nothing, no circumstance, no pandemic, no anything can stifle that unless you decide to allow it to. Whatever you put your mind to is what you are able to achieve. As I reminded her that she was a child of God, she broke down in tears, because she said, I know this, but I've allowed myself to tell myself something different. What do you say to people who don't realize that they are the stumbling block?
Right. Sometimes people show up in fascinating ways in our lives to help them to be better. And so to people who don't realize that they're the stumbling block, my best advice to anyone in general is you need to get you a tribe who's going to hold you accountable and make you responsible. I believe that more of us need to recognize that it's the people around us who are holding us back. And sometimes you are the people, you are the person. And so as you navigate through wanting to be great, but not being sure if you're great, look at your tribe, look at your circle. I had highlighted a short while ago in another conversation that the flamingo isn't always as beautiful as the flamingo is. The flamingo comes to this earth and they're black, they're gray in color, but it is their diet that allows for them to be beautifully pink. If you were to take that and connect it to the ugliest human being, to the ugliest personality, and invite them to ingest more brilliance, to ingest more kindness, to ingest more of a commitment to excellence, we can have a better world. Know who you're surrounding yourself with, all right? Be the kind of individual when you recognize that this is not the space for you to be in, move. Don't be so caught up and connected with others that you feel that you are required to stay. Move on. There are some people in our life for a reason and others who are there for a season. Recognize and know the difference. And as we demonstrate the discerning spirit to know who should be in our lives, just like the flamingo we will soar. Just like the flamingo, we will fly. And just like the flamingo, we will be beautiful people. Take the step to recognize and understand who is in your life. And when you do that, you will be floored. You will be dumbfounded to see just how much further you can even go.
Indeed. Wow. So you've given, Valdez, in my mind, something that's popped into my spirit. You've given a new definition to the term KYC. Know your circle. Listen to me. It is incredible when you surround yourselves with people who are looking for more. People who want more from life, and you're surrounded by those people. You are almost like, well, how come I? What should I be doing differently to get to the next level? When you are, Grammy told you long ago, iron sharpen iron. It's also in the Bible. I can't remember exactly where, but it's in there somewhere. Google it. Yes. Iron sharpens iron. That's a very true statement. The fact is, if you are around dull knives or dullness, if you will, you too may become dull. Right. You might be the flamingo that's already turned pink, but your surroundings are saying, hey man, stay gray, stay gray. What's this ambition you're talking about? What's this goal that you've achieved or trying to achieve? KYC, because your surroundings will also determine your outcome. My mother will celebrate her birthday tomorrow, and I'm so excited for her. She journeys into one more year of fabulousness and pricelessness, as she typically says. And she told me a story as I prepare for this session with you, Valdez. And she told me the story about a boss she had who typically shared an anecdote every morning they would meet. And he would often say that whatever you are seeking is seeking you. Take that in for a moment. Whatever you are seeking is seeking you, right? And to me that meant if it is that you are looking to get better, better is looking for you. You find yourself running into things that, is this really for me? Like, was that happenstance? Was it just coincidence that it happened? I want you to know that what you say, I said it earlier, what you see in your mind's eye and you speak life into becomes your manifested truth. What do you say to people, Valdez? Do you agree that what we speak into existence, it comes to life?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So when you grow up hearing, you're going to be no good like so-and-so, when you move into life, you are just no good like so-and-so. But when you grow up in the kinds of communities that ignite something bigger, that inspire something better, you step into rooms that you belong in. You see the world in such a way that you recognize that your brilliance must be shared. A lot of us are playing small because of the basic folks that are moving around doing simple things, leaving us in their shadows. And when we play small, we miss the opportunity to step into where we belong. Recognize that this is your journey. This is your moment. And so if you believe that you are going to be the next Steve Jobs, if you believe that you are going to provide that brilliant vision that Sir Lyndon Pindling once had, if you see yourself as the first female prime minister of the Bahamas ready to lead, speak it into existence. Say it loudly and be proud to know that you're dreaming bigger. And on that journey, be kind, be thoughtful, and be respectful. Because to get where you want to be, it requires the kindness of others and the legacy of your contributions in their lives that will move you from one step to the next.
That is powerful. I truly, that has become the mantra that I live by. What I speak, I have experienced. I took the time in the year 2020, amidst all that was going on in the world, to write down 11 declarations. I started them by saying, I'm so happy and grateful that. And every single thing on that paper has come to fruition. Every single thing. Not one of the things has yet to happen. They have already happened. This took place, I want to say, around June or July of 2020. Okay. And I was convicted to write down, I'm so happy and grateful that. And one of those things has manifested this year. I wrote down what I wanted in terms of a job opportunity. And today, everything I wrote down on that paper regarding that job opportunity is mine. I got a call late last year that said, you are the successful candidate. Everything you wanted is yours. And I said to myself and the Lord, what you mean? What you mean? It's how you... Now, mom, this is the right number. You call it mad. Because I'm confident, yes, I'm brave, and yes, I'm this, but I'm also human. Yes. And so the first thing that came into my mind after thank you, Jesus, was, you sure you have the right candidate? I'd already written it down. I'd already spoken it into existence. But even as it was coming to fruition, in a split second, I second guessed it. I want you to understand that today you're hearing this message because you need to stop second guessing what's already been offered to you. It's been ordained for you. Stop speaking against it. As you know your circle and you protect your surroundings, protect your words. The Bible tells you to guard your heart because from it flows the issues of life. Those issues are whatever you create in your heart. Whatever you said is what you will see. Whatever you thought is what you will experience. You can't blame anybody else for the damnation you've spoken into your own life. I need you right now to realize that what you speak into this life, what you speak life into in this life, becomes life. It receives a pulse. Speak life. From this moment on, speak life. And I want you to understand something, Valdez. Life can also be given to the negative. Right? I'm to this. I'm not good enough. She's better than I am. He has it better. She's been in it longer than I have. So what? There is no one on earth that can do exactly what you've been called to do. Valdez mentioned earlier that this pandemic has caused everyone to become chef and pastry and all these things have happened. But despite all of that, no one can do it the way you can do it. As you walk the grocery aisles, you see bread after bread after bread after bread after bread. Different styles, different types, different makers, but they are still selling. They're on the shelves. Everyone has their preference. Everyone has their choice. So why limit yourself because you believe somebody else has done it since you or has done it before you? It doesn't matter. Who you are and who you've been called to be and what you've been called to do is for you to do, for you to speak life into.
And as we focus in on shift into focus, as we hone in on that, this is what we have to pause and do. Think about all that you've watched over the last 5 weeks. Think about all of the conversations. And also pause and remember what you prayed for. We are often blessed and gifted with the things that we prayed for. But because we forgot, because we were so focused on the next thing, we fail to appreciate what we've received. I say to people, I only pray and ask God for something once because he ain't deaf. He has never failed me and he is not deaf. And so understand the importance of prayer, understand what you prayed for, and be ready when the blessings flow because you took a step and now you are being positioned to take more steps. So think thoughtfully about what you've experienced. Understand who is in your circle and recognize that what is meant for you will never pass you by, but you need to step, care, be kind, and appreciate what you bring to the table. And if you go to a table and there is not a seat for you, create a table of your own.
Get your own table. Bring your own table, Valdez says.
And this is what shifting into focus needs to look like. Indeed. You cannot be waiting on someone else to create happiness or success. You have to step into a better season, a better life, and a better way of thinking of what greatness and excellence means to you.
Absolutely. You know, you mentioned remember what you've prayed for. Yes. And I want to add, remember who you've prayed to. If you pray to the God that I serve, the prayer has been answered. Sometimes God has a way about him, and I love his way. Because last year, in May of last year, he gave me a date. He said September 30th. And I said, okay, but what are you trying to tell me? He said, Exodus. I said, now Exodus only means one thing. It means to leave, to exit, to move on, to move away from. And I said, now, Lord, you know what I'm praying for, so you telling me September 30th, I'm going to get it on September 30th? And he said, just be you and watch me be me. I said, okay. September 30th came, and that week, the 10 days leading up to September 30th, I will never forget. It was as though the Lord himself had come down and said, watch me do what I do. He said to me at September 30th, be patient. I was like, man, God, nah, come now. You gave me the vision, the mission, the thought in May. 6 months and passed, I hadn't been patient. Yeah, but you are still too impatient. God, this me. You know, I like it. Yes. Right now, this evening, right in the moment, I want it to, why you can promise me this and then have me, because you need to be ready. He said it, be ready for what you've prayed for. Perhaps I wasn't ready yet. He knew I could do it, but are you ready for it? Because when I give this to you now, you can't waste this opportunity. Sometimes he also gives us the cake we've asked for in ingredients. And give you 3 eggs, 1 cup of flour, a little bit of water, some sugar, and some margarine. If you're healthy, some butter. Right? What are you going to do to create your own cake? But Lord, I want cake. I've given you the ingredients for the cake. We have to understand that the requirement, the thing that's necessary, that's missing, is the step. The stone that's been placed in front of you is no longer a stumbling stone. It is your stepping stone. The one that they rejected will become the cornerstone. You know this. You know the verse. It's an age-old adage that we've heard time and time again, but it's time for you now to take the step, to take the ingredients that you've been given and create the cake you want to eat. What better than doing it yourself through the direction and the glory of God, right? It makes me think about how sometimes we ask for it, don't see it because we've blocked it out already by what we've spoken, or maybe the person that we prayed with or had prayed for us prayed it away. That's important. I had a friend the other day ask me, well, how come I didn't know you were still in the series? It wasn't time to share it yet. Because I don't know everybody's agenda, Valdez. Let's be honest with one another right now. Some people pray things away from your existence. You have to know your circle. The people you think might be for you may very well be the most against you.
Wow. A sad but poignant reminder. Indeed. So here's the call to action. Indeed. Here's the reminder, and here is how we aspire and inspire to be better. Wherever you are and whatever you want to do, start now. As you start, you are going to create a ripple for those around you to either join you, experience something new, or move out of your way. When I used to travel around the world to give presentations and facilitate workshops, one of the pieces that we often left with participants was a pebble. And I walked with the pebble today, and it's a simple pebble, and I've given a number of presentations where we've left people with pebbles. But when you think about the pebble and the impact and ripples that it has when we drop it into a body of water, it's a reminder of the greatness of the human spirit and the capacity to do and be more when we take a step. Be the pebble, drop in to where you want to be successful, watch the ripples flow, and watch God shift into focus for your success.
My Lord. Mike, I can't, just the people, Mike, so I can't drop it. But listen to me. We have spent the last 5 weeks understanding what it takes to shift into focus. And you will recall that those 2 words are spelled differently. Shift is spelled with a Y because it requires you. You are the one person that is stopping you or that's going to propel you. And then that K in focus is for the kingdom mindset. You are a part of a royal priesthood. When I realized that, listen to me, everything about the way I conducted myself, carried myself, thought about myself, shifted. Because I am a part of a kingdom, which means I am a king. I'm an heir to a throne. There's nothing that I can't have that is for me. Valdez mentioned it. What has your name on it cannot pass you by. You can pass it by, but it cannot pass you by. When it has your name on it, when it's been ordained for you, it is yours to take hold of. But you have to understand that with this pebble, with the stone that you are faced with, are you going to step on it or stumble on it? The step can propel you into your next great thing. The stumble can stop you forever. What are you prepared to do right now? What have you been telling yourself you can't do? What have you been allowing someone to tell you you shouldn't do? It could be the person you lay down with every single night. I want to tell you something. I'm guided by my mother's voice right now in this moment, because I was going to get a little bit too loose for a moment. But I want you to understand something. Just because they've been with you does not mean they are for you. Whether you married, shacking up, one night standing, it doesn't matter. You are your own limit. The limits you place on yourself are your fault. The things that you decide to accomplish today is because you decided to today. This isn't meant to beat anybody up, but it's meant to shake you into reality. The shift is required when you step into your greatness. It's an action word. To shift means to move, to do something. You can't pursue something standing still. If I wanted to reach for that pebble to make my ripple, I have to get up and move toward it. To shift into focus means to take your mind from where it once was and put it where it needs to be. It is time for you to shift into focus. The only thing that's stopping you is you. Valdez, it has been an immense pleasure having you with me today, because I believe that we have actually helped at least one person realize the benefit in observing that pebble, that stone, as a stepping stone and not a stumbling stone. We've understood that potentially I could be the stumbling stone. It could be my thoughts, it could be my words, it could be my actions that have caused me to be where I am right now. We've realized that through that, it is important that we shift into focus and shift our mindset. Approach everything as if we already have it, and it can be ours. Valdez, for those that have not had enough of you, that have not quite satisfied their thirst, where can we find you? Where are you on social media? Tell us where we can find you if we wanted to look for you.
Certainly. So in the unlikely event that you'd like a little bit more engagement or conversation, or just to see how I show up in an ordinary circumstance and everyday life, you can find me on social media. So on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, it's all the same, Valdez K. Russell. And so I look forward to seeing some good connections, new connections, and I actually want to celebrate as you shift into focus. And so if you drop me a note, I'm going to do my part to support you on the journey. I don't just like content, I comment, I engage, and I want to cheer you on. And so find me at Valdez K. Russell on social media, and you'll know that you found me because of the smile, because of the cocktail picture, and other kinds of things that help me to just relax and encourage others.
Indeed. Valdez, again, thank you so much.
Thank you
for being with us today. Thank you so much for helping us to wrap this series up. It is important that we realize that as we shift into focus, as Valdez keeps his social media handles consistent, that you remember consistency is key. What you start today, continue tomorrow. Thank you so much for coming on this journey with us, for shifting into focus with us. I want you to know that I'm on your side. Anything you do in this moment, remember that it's all dependent on you. Thank you so much again for joining us. Thank you so much for having us, for being with us rather, Valdez. It's been a pleasure hosting you all. Godspeed. Take care.